When they had crossed over, they landed at Gennesaret and anchored there. As soon as they got out of the boat, people recognized Jesus. They ran throughout that whole region and carried the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages, towns, or countryside, they placed the sick in the marketplaces. They begged him to let them touch even the edge of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed.
This is a story that might seem simple at first glance. Jesus arrives in Gennesaret, where crowds rush to him with the sick, believing that touching his garment will bring healing. Let's consider what this story can tell us about the power of faith in our often cynical modern world. Imagine for a moment that Jesus doesn't arrive by boat, but instead comes on a tram called faith, which stops at every station of our life. People hurry to touch him, but it's not about touching a piece of his clothing. In our times, it might be an attempt to capture a selfie with him to post on Instagram with the hashtag #TouchOfFaith. In this story, Jesus reminds us that it's not about literal touch or digital likes. Faith is not something that can be measured by the number of followers or likes. Faith is something much deeper. It's the assurance of the heart that even in our busy and complicated life, there's room for healing, peace, and love that come from our relationship with God. Let's pause for a moment to consider another passage from the Bible. In the Gospel according to St. Luke, a woman suffering from bleeding touches Jesus' garment and is healed, not by magic, not by spells, but by faith. Your faith has healed you. That's what Jesus said then. In our times, where bleeding might be a metaphor for chronic stress, exhaustion, or a sense of isolation, these words are equally powerful. And what if I tell you that the Wi-Fi of faith is always available? We don't need a password. There's no data limit. The coverage is everywhere, even in the darkest corners of our life. The problem is that sometimes we forget how to connect. Or worse, we ignore the available connection because we're too busy searching for a signal in more sophisticated places. In this story, the inhabitants of Gennesaret were not passive. They actively sought Jesus, bringing their suffering to him, believing in his healing power. For us, this is a clue and a reminder to actively seek God in our daily life, in small gestures, in the silence of the heart, in the love we share with others. Maybe it's time for us all to pack up for a journey on the faith station and approach life with more trust. Not expecting miracles at every step, but being open to healing that may come in the most unexpected forms. Let our faith be like a ticket, not for a one-time journey, but as a subscription that allows us to experience the presence and love of God every day. We don't need a selfie with Jesus to prove the strength of our faith. We need hearts open to his presence in our life, ready to touch and be touched by his love. Let faith be our guide, our light in darkness, our strength in weakness. And remember, a touch of faith can bring the healing we so desperately need. Amen.